Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner. No Trev tonight. He is hosting a trivia night down at the Lexington Sky Bar. Make sure you head down there. They are one of our sponsors. Check out Trev in person. Remember, if you mention the name Ref the District at Sky Bar, your first drink is on us.
Free. Totally free.
Totally free. It's going to be on us. You just got to get down there and do that. We have a couple other sponsors you'll be hearing about later in the show. And my, oh my, is it going to be a show? You know, we were just prepared to talk about beating, or playing against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Beating is a good word. That's fine.
Beating is a good word. I'm not confident Washington's going to beat Philadelphia, but I do think there's an avenue there for them. We're going to talk about that in the game. We got lots of discussions there to include. Stoner and I are not done duking it out over who should be the QB post Philadelphia Eagles. So that will also happen in the game. Of course, the cool down will be our score predictions, some dollar, some of those prop bets you guys love to get involved with. Always appreciate it. Make sure that you're here. Make sure you like this video. Subscribe to the channel. We always appreciate that support. And then that's what we had planned. Of course, we're going to wrap up last week's game against the Minnesota Vikings. And normally we have Trev here, so we kind of get his thoughts because he misses day after reckoning because he's working the bar as well. And then all of a sudden, Stoner, just the Washington's world blows up again. Every Wednesday, it seems like there's something coming out with this team that just makes you shake your head. And today it was the announcement from District of Columbia's Attorney General Carl A. Racine is going to hold a press conference at 1 p.m. tomorrow. That's Thursday, in case you're not watching this live, or on Wednesday. So on Thursday, to make a major announcement related to the Washington Commanders. Of course, the Washington Commanders have been, under a lot of scrutiny. The Mary Jo White investigations, there's the financial fraud investigations, and now we have this press conference with major announcement. What could this be, Stoner, that they have to announce it the day before to make sure everyone's paying attention tomorrow?
Well, I don't know specifically, but reaching out to a couple of sources, I did find that they believe that it's about financial improprieties from Dan Snyder / the Washington Commanders. We'll find out more for sure tomorrow, but I think it's going to be a big announcement. I don't think it's going to be like we're indicting Dan Snyder. I don't think it's going to be
Dan Snyder not going to be rolling in handcuffs by the end of Thursday. No.
It's not going to be anything like that, but it is going to be a big deal in terms of how much trouble the franchise is in. And that has an effect on the whole sale of the team. It's been reported by many people that all this stuff that's going on with Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders, when they sell the team, it doesn't just go away. The new owners are going to have to take up whatever sort of investigations are going to be levied against the team,
or fines, or
all of that stuff.
If they take away draft picks.
That's right. It doesn't just go away when Dan goes away. So it was crazy that this announcement came out. That was one thing that we were just going to we'll just kind of talk about it in passing, maybe talk about it for a minute or two. But then that statement, Nathan, that statement was outrageous.
It is beyond belief that they posted this. And I'm going to go ahead and bring it up here. We'll remove the branding, make it a little bit easier here. This is the official response from a Commander spokesperson, courtesy
unnamed
of Haley, that you can see. Yeah, unnamed. For our audio listeners, less than 3 months ago, a 23-year-old player on our team was shot multiple times in broad daylight. Despite the out-of-control violent crime in D.C., today the Washington Commanders learned for the first time on Twitter that the D.C. Attorney General will be holding a press conference to make a major announcement related to the organization tomorrow. The Commanders have fully cooperated with the AG's investigation for nearly a year. As recently as Monday, a lawyer for the team met with the AG, who did not suggest at the time that he intended to take any action, and in fact revealed fundamental misunderstandings of the underlying facts. It is unfortunate that in his final days of office, Mr. Racine appears more interested in making splashy headlines based on offbeat legal theories rather than doing the hard work of making the streets safe for our citizens, including bringing justice to the people who shot one of our players. That is the response. I'm just going to put this out there. Just boo. That's an awful, awful, awful response.
That I don't even know. It pisses me off, Nathan, that the team, regardless of who did it, who said it, who ordered it, who wrote it, whatever, that the team that we root for would stoop so low to bring in the shooting of Brian Robinson Jr., which at the time we all thought the team did an amazing job and how they handled it. And now they're using him, Brian Robinson Jr., and his situation to try to make themselves look good in something that has absolutely nothing to do with Brian Robinson Jr. The legal troubles of the Washington Commanders have nothing to do with Brian Robinson Jr. And they're dragging his name, his situation, the unfortunate situation that he had to deal with. They're bringing him into it, and it's disgusting. And I can't believe they're doing that. And I only learned about it about 20 minutes ago when Nathan alerted me to that statement. And I looked at it, and my mind was blown that somebody would say something like that. What are they thinking? What is even the most normal human beings don't do something like that, bringing something to deflect from their own improprieties and bring somebody who has nothing to do with it into it, and somebody who is a part of their team. They're
definitely trying to deflect here, and they're also trying to target the attorney general and saying, you didn't do your job for crime in DC, and now you're coming after us. If they would have just kept it at that, like, that's not a great statement. I'm not saying that's the statement they should have gone for, but it's just the fact that they felt confident enough in bringing Brian Robinson into this. And we're not the only ones who feel this way. In fact, his actual agent came out here again, Pete Haley, with this tweet, and I'll make this Ryan Williams is the tweet. I just want to give you a little bit of the background there. Up until an hour ago, this is from Ryan Williams. This is his tweet for our audio listeners here. B-Rob's agent, Ryan Williams. Sorry. Up until an hour ago, the Commanders handled the Brian Robinson situation with so much care, sincerity, and class. And I was so grateful for all of it. Although I know that there are some great humans in that building, whoever is hiding behind this statement is not one of them. Wow.
That is some kind of statement right there. Sometimes you just try and say, hey, this is not cool. You shouldn't have done that. This was an all-out attack on the Washington organization. Rightfully so, I might say. He absolutely should have said something like that. Brian Robinson's just sitting there at home or whatever. Maybe he's lifting weights. Maybe he's studying his playbook, whatever. And just all of a sudden, his name's getting dragged into the Commanders' legal issues. And that's just not right. Yeah. And that would cause some people to, I would question my heart or my desire to go out on Sunday and play for this guy or play for this organization. And I know they play for their teammates more than anything, but still, it affects you. It has to affect Brian Robinson specifically.
Yes, I think that it might affect him. I don't think it's going to necessarily affect his play, because you're right. He's playing for his teammates. He's playing for the coaches. He's playing for not the people who made this spoke statement. Now, it's still going to kind of get to him, especially, and I'm sure there's going to be a statement coming from him. I would not be surprised to see Brian Robinson up at the podium sometime this week, and he's going to be asked hey, what did you think about the Commanders using you as a statement? His agent will probably do something to give him like a line to be like, this is what you need to say. And he'll probably deflect and be like, listen, I'm just focusing on the game right now to try not to make this matter worse.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the situation is just downright like the team's oblivious. Really. And we have Gus Bus in here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Why would Jason Wright allow such a statement? He's as bad in my mind as any accomplice. And I expect some of our leaders in that team, Ron Rivera, Jason Wright, Julie Donaldson, probably maybe not so much because this isn't really her lane for that necessarily. But, you know, one of those two, especially Ron Rivera, to come out and make a counter statement, be like, hey, listen, Brian Robinson has nothing to do with this. This is what we're going for. You know, Ron's kind of talked about this before, right? Every time they do something good, although they lost against Minnesota, there's this black cloud. Like you just can't get away from it here right now with Dan Snyder as the owner, with DC, you know, being in DC. And I expect them to try to counter this and say, hey, we're going to shoulder this. And if that doesn't happen, I'm fully on board with, you know, letting Jason Wright know, like, hey, this just wasn't the way you should handle business. I'm not in the place to call for anybody's job, but the person who wrote that statement hit send. They really need to reevaluate where they're at. They need to be, you know, possibly applying for other positions, because that is not a statement that should have gone out that way. Like I said, cut down the Brian Robinson stuff, call out the AG, because it's, you know, it's a little cutthroat. You're trying, you know, this guy, the AG's coming after you. I understand you're wanting to call into question a little bit there. That's politics of it, but bringing your players into it, I just don't see that as the smart move in regards to this.
You said a lot of different words there at the end, but you didn't want to say that you were calling for somebody's job, but you really were. I mean, you didn't specifically say it. You just used other words to it. And I totally agree with you. This is something that somebody should be losing their job over, because of how tone deaf it was, how deflective it was to the real issue at hand. And like you said, bringing another player. And it's just, I try to look at every situation, and I try to look at it from a team's perspective. And I give them a benefit of the doubt on a lot of things. Just like the whole issue we had with Mark Mosley's name tag for that, the homecoming deal. And I was like, that is not a big deal because his name tag was misspelled. I try to look at it from their perspective. This is one of those where I absolutely want somebody to stand up and say, we had to let somebody go because this was bad. It's one of the worst things that I've seen them do, not things that they've been investigated for that nobody knows about. This is something out in a public face, or a public statement that has come out. This is one of the worst things that they've done. I can't believe they did it, and there's no excuse for it. And heads should roll, but the problem is the head is probably the one, you know, that did this through people below them, so nobody's head's going to roll.
Yeah, and so this is where I can understand, like, if you're one of the experienced people, this is where, like I said, I'm not going to call for somebody's job. This is their livelihood and whatnot. But something needs to happen. Some kind of reprimand and some kind of, you know, backtracking, and something needs to happen in that regard. If you're the intern and you were cornered and told to give a statement, and this is kind of like the backroom talk that you remembered, like, fine, like, you know, maybe not lose your job, but, you know, that's a learning experience. I'm all for learning experiences, but if you're one of the people who's at the top and this is the statement that you're like, yep, no, this is good to send, then you need to readjust. And or if this was a spokesperson who was out of line, and this is likely probably the way that I can see the team going, that the person who made that statement, you know, wasn't in line with the Commanders, you know, ideology on this. We're going to handle it, blah, 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 to try to sweep it under the rug. But That's not it.
Do you realize that we went from last Wednesday's show when we were dancing and celebrating about the news that Dan Snyder was going to sell the team, and we were riding a 3-game winning streak, and we go into the game on Sunday, and you're winning 17-7 in the fourth quarter, and then the black cloud came over, and here it is raining on us again, and you end up losing that game. And we have this whole quarterback thing that we're going to talk about. And now here we are when we should be talking all about the Eagles and all about what it takes to beat them. And we will. But instead, here at the beginning, we're talking about dumb stuff that is going on with this organization again. And it happens so much. And I realize it does happen with other organizations as well, but not this sort of level of absurdity does it happen, except for right here with this Washington team. And it's getting to me. It's getting to me.
It's just the consistency with the bad things that happen. It's just unbelievable. As Trout says here, it just doesn't end with this filthy organization. Yeah, it's just one thing after another. We appreciate everybody in the chat sticking with us here. We are going to get to the football talk because that's what we wanted to talk about today.
That's what everybody
lightly mentioned, that the big conference tomorrow, speculated a little bit as far as what it was, and then that statement came out and it was just my goodness. And then just moments ago it was the agent who came out. And that was, again, Ryan Williams, Brian Robinson's agent, came out and was just like, listen, this ain't it. That statement at the end, although I know that there are some great humans in that building, whoever is hiding behind the statement is not one of them.
Yeah.
Just absolutely just a monster hit.
Eviscerated somebody there. And I think we know who it is, but because we don't know for sure, we're not going to name names. But I think we know who it is. And they haven't been with this organization very long either, which may be a part of why it was so tone deaf. I don't know. That's just kind of my opinion on it.
We'll see if we find out who, and then we'll probably have some more discussions on it again at some other time, and we'll see what tomorrow holds for the Commanders. Right now, let's get back into the actual sports talk. Appreciate all those jumping in here. We got Alex, we got Fear the Beard, we got Doug, Allison's in the house, Dominic, OPG Bubbles, Gus Bus, and Trout, as I mentioned from their comments earlier as well. The Hawk TV just coming in here, and we got the comedian Robert Gandera as well. Ursay trying to compete with Snyder and incompetence. There's a lot of stuff going on in Indianapolis, and that's what, Stoner, you're talking about, right? Like, it's every organization has their crazy.
Yeah.
Washington's crazy is what we're familiar with, and just keeps getting to us. And I agree, tougher guy. We can't let it get to us now. It is almost over.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, okay. Let's see.
Gus Bus wants us to do a dollar on what we think it may be. We're thinking it's the financial improprieties. And my guess,
I think he's
not NFL.
Who said it?
Oh, and who you think? Okay, well, I'm not going to give out. I'm not going to give about that one, but we'll see how it goes. Obey in the house as well, calling it a W. Let's roll into some good things. All right, and the first good thing we want to do is the season of giving. We are doing so well on the donations for the Fisher House organization. Great organization. Make sure you check them out. You can donate at the link that's coming to the bottom here. And the reason why we're opening with this before getting to that football talk is because we have an exciting announcement, right, Stoner? There's now another item that is in the raffle.
Well, let's recap all of the things that by donating to the Fisher House, what you could possibly win. Because if you donate, then as you see on the bottom, on the scroll down there, that however much you donate gives you the higher chance of winning some of these items. So let's talk about what those items are. First of all, the 2 suite tickets, red zone parking, free food and drink for the Giants game in December, either the 17th or 18th. It's a flexible game, So we'll find out soon enough. All free, or depend, however much you decide to give, that gives you an opportunity to win that. That's one. Second thing is you'll win a $140 gift certificate to Pacers Running, where you can get some new running shoes, which would also include a free online fitting if you want to go there and have somebody find the exact right shoe for whatever you're trying to do. And then you'll get your $140 gift card from Pacers Running. We have two, not one. We have two $100 gift cards to Guy Fieri Restaurant in DC. It's right there at Cap One. So if you decide to go to a Wizards game, you decide to go to a Caps game, you can go down there, have $100 worth of food with a gift card there. So we have two of those. We have a signed D'Angelo Hall jersey, Redskins jersey, not Commanders jersey, not football team jersey, a signed legit Redskins jersey from Woodbridge Collectibles. Go check them out at woodbridgecollectibles.com. And Tailgate Ted helped hook that up for us as well. Then we also have a swag bag from Skybar. Trev's going to put together a little swag bag for you with some cool stuff from Skybar. And can I get a drum roll? You don't have a drum roll yet.
No, I don't have a drum roll right now. You didn't tell me to get a drum roll.
I just thought of it just now too. But also, there you go. While your camera's shaking like that, the thing that just came in today, a signed burgundy Commanders Charles Leno jersey.
That deserves some cheers. The rest right there deserves some cheers.
So that's another item that we are giving away, and all you have to do is donate to the Fisher House using our little what would you call it? Our link.
The YouTube chat right there. The link to our season of giving, Ref to District season of giving. One, I want to appreciate the Leno family for making that donation. We appreciate them for stepping up and doing that. We are doing better than our goal right now. So we have raised $620 right now. We appreciate every bit of those donations. Again, that all goes directly to the Fisher House organization.
Yep.
And currently, Ethan Davis stepping up with $120 on two donations. We appreciate that, Ethan. Huge. We really, really do. We believe in this organization and the houses they provide. And if you're not familiar with the organization, what they do is they provide places to stay for family members as their military member or vet is getting health care that they need at a facility, and they need that family near them. So it's a very important thing that they do. And these homes are located at military VA medical centers around the world. Stoner and I are personally familiar, with the one that's out there in Landstuhl, Germany, as they, especially during the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, that was being used quite frequently, and families were being flown out to Germany to be there with their family members as they're coming back from a war zone. And it's just a very important thing. And we don't have to be in the middle of a war for those to be important, because there's still a lot of healthcare things that our military members are going through and, seeking that care. So the Fisher House allows people to be near their family. So we appreciate that. Ethan Davis here, again, want to shout out, very much appreciate the money that you've donated here. Says, after Stoner's story about his experience, I had to donate. I've benefited from the Ronald McDonald House before personally, so I love this idea. Well, we appreciate that, Ethan. Got yourself lots of chances there to get one of those items. The way it's going to work is you can only get one of the smaller items, but everybody has a chance to get those sweet tickets. So you might end up getting yourself some shoes and the sweet tickets, maybe one of those jerseys and the sweet tickets. So there have been a couple people who have donated anonymously. We appreciate that. We still reach out to those people through the site and give them a chance to say, hey, maybe you didn't want your name up on the website, but if you wanted to still be in the drawing, there's still an opportunity for you. So EP is doing an amazing job handling all that. So
yeah, absolutely. And we probably we're underselling the fact that these sweet tickets, we're all going to be there.
Yes.
we're all going to be with you in the suite. So it's not just like you're going to go there and there's going to be a bunch of people in the suite that you don't know. No, Ref the District is going to be there for the game, hanging out with you. So that, I mean, we're underselling that, Nathan. That's probably bigger than the actual suite.
You get to park right next to us in the red zone. You get to meet all the regular people that we get to hang out with us. We're going to have lots of games. We're actually just spiced up our game set for the for tailgating. We've got like yard golf, the ladder ball, I guess is also another name for it. We've got tall Jenga, like the big Jenga pieces. We've got a few things out there. So
sweet.
Yeah, Gus Bus. You get the Stone fans live time, personal time with Stoner.
And probably anybody but Gus. If Gus wins, I'll probably call in sick that day.
Call in
okay,
sick.
I'm not so sure about this Gus guy. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Gus said you should probably do 2 drawings at this point as well. Just again to clarify, we're going to draw for each of those items individually. And then we're going to draw for the suite tickets. So you get the chance to win one of those smaller items. And then everybody gets a chance to win the suite tickets. So that's how we'll get the
3 weeks. 3 weeks from tonight.
It will be in fact live.
We're going to live draw. So everyone's going to know right then and there. There's not going to be no funny business behind the scenes. We're going to pull them. Nathan and EP will probably do it right there. Pull the names out. There you go. Those for the winners 3 weeks from tonight.
Yep. Live on November 30th. Get your donations in through we're going to try to keep it open as late as we can on the 29th. Just so that way we can get it in there, but we do need time on the 30th. So donations through midnight on the 29th. And then we will get everyone their information on the 30th before doing the drawing live here on our channel, as we do every night. Live on Wednesdays on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Okay, well, appreciate that. EP getting that in there as well. So that's Robert, it is a good thing you get to meet us in person. It is a good cause, though. At the very minimum, it is a great cause.
Yep.
To get there and donate to the Fisher House. So we appreciate all the donations. Again, we purposely, we love what the Fisher House brings, and they made it super easy to make sure all the donations go straight to them. So that's good. All right, let's get to the actual football talk. I just wanted to get away from all that nasty dark cloud stuff. Talk about something good. Now let's talk about maybe something that's not so good. Any last thoughts on that Vikings game that you want to talk about? Normally we give Trev his chance to kind of air it out. I have one if you do not.
Yeah, I really don't, other than Washington should have won that game. Absolutely blew it.
Yeah, they did blow it. I will say that I got the burgundy and gold glasses on.
Yeah, you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
But I actually felt pretty good about that game, even though it was a loss. Like, it was devastating to lose it because we were up 17-7 in the fourth quarter.
Right.
But that being said, like, that's a one-loss team that we battled it, and that we had multiple opportunities to win, and that it was our own unraveling. And that's what bad teams do, right? They unravel, and we gave that game away. But I felt pretty confident about it, and that's one of the reasons why I feel pretty good about Washington's chances here against the Eagles, which is what we're going to be talking about when we get to the game.
The game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 5 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
Washington heads to Philadelphia on Monday Night Football. We will be streaming live on Monday night. It's probably going to just be Stoner and I, as Trev will be at Sky Bar that night, as they are open up on Mondays. But we're going to have our live play-by-play. We will be synced up, giving you all the great stuff. The soundboard is live. It's going to be jamming. It's going to be lots of fun. Hopefully, as Washington tries to avenge the loss earlier in the season, 24-8. Philadelphia currently undefeated. And I love this from OPG Bubbles. Hey, we can beat the Eagles because the Steelers were 11-0 when we beat them.
That's true.
There's some history there. What do you think, Stoner? Do you think Washington has a legitimate shot? And by legitimate, I mean like more than like 25% chance.
More than 25% chance, yes. More than 26% chance, probably not. And I don't
line right at 25.
Yeah, wherever you put the line, I was going 1% over was where the line is going to be. They match up well with Philadelphia. However, Philadelphia has certain parts of their game that are too much for Washington. And we saw that in the first game. Washington completely shut down Philadelphia's rushing attack. Completely shut them down. In fact, I don't even think Jalen Hurts had but one or two actual runs. He had a couple of scrambles, but I don't even know if he got 10 yards rushing. I think you're checking the
yep, absolutely.
box score right now.
They ran Philadelphia ran 30 times for 72 yards. Jalen Hurts 9 for 20.
Okay, 9 for 20. I mean, 2 yards a carry, basically.
Yeah,
so they completely shut down the rushing attack, which the Eagles' rushing attack, I believe, is, I'm going to look it up here because I was checking it out earlier. Their rushing attack is about 6th in the league. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is 6th in the league, and they completely shut them down. Now, the problem was their athletes on the outside, the A.J. Browns and the Devontae Smiths, they were the ones that worked our corners and our safeties and made plays. But I'm telling you, I said this immediately after the game. I tweeted this immediately after the game and got completely ratioed by the Eagles community. But I still stand by it because they didn't really read it. All they did was get really offended by what I said, but they didn't really read what I said. And I said I was not impressed with Jalen Hurts in this game. That's all I said. I didn't say Jalen Hurts wasn't any good. I didn't say the Eagles weren't any good. I didn't say they shouldn't have beat Washington. I just said I wasn't impressed with him. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to remind you, Nathan, why I wasn't impressed with him. And I threw away the sheet that I really needed, but I have kind of the breakdown of Jalen Hurts' passes on that day. He completed 22 passes. I believe he was 22 of 33. Is that right?
He was 22 of 35 for 340 yards.
Yes. Huge amount of yards.
If you just look at it on the baseline there, that's 9.7 yards a completion.
What's the completion percentage of 22 of 35?
Now I'm going to have to do actual because they don't.
No, I thought that was on the stats there on the stats page. But the point there, I mean, it's roughly 60.
By the way, it's 62.9 if you wanted to give the three numbers.
So I mean, that's not great. Low 60% is not a great percentage. But why I was not impressed on his 22 completions, five of them were thrown longer than 7 yards past the line of scrimmage. 5. He had 5 completions. I'm not saying that the play was not longer than 7 yards. There was a lot of big plays, but they were short passes that were taken for long plays. Sure. So 5 of them. And of those 5, you had one of them that was down the right-hand side to Devontae Smith that he caught out of bounds, but the officials called it inbounds. They got off a play before Ron could throw the challenge flag. That should not have been a completion, but it was. That was fine. One of them was a 50-50 ball to A.J. Brown down the left side. Okay? So that was not a good throw either because it was just a toss-up for grabs. A.J. Brown, greater than sign, Kendall Fuller on that play. He outplayed him. A third one was the long play right before halftime that he threw down the middle to double coverage of, again, Kendall Fuller and Bobby McCain. That Devontae Smith went up and made a play on it. So 3 of the 5 were basically garbage throws that his playmakers made plays. Again, I'm not saying that the offense or that the team is not good. I was saying in that game, Jalen Hurts did not impress me because those throws were not impressive. The receivers were extremely impressive. And 2 other passes that went over 7 yards. Everything else were just short pass, short pass, short pass. He's running the offense to perfection. He's doing everything that his coaches are asking him. He's doing it well. They're winning games. Fine. I'm not a Jalen Hurts believer yet. He's having a great year. He's running a college offense. They're probably, I don't have the numbers. I'm not a numbers guy. 75% of his pass plays are RPOs. Okay. He doesn't get the ball and go back and throw downfield. He just doesn't do that. That's not how the offense works. Good for them. The coach is designing plays to fit his style of play. So I get all of that. But you can beat this team if you can do 2 things. You can slow them down on running the ball, which Washington did. And the other key is turning the ball over or not turning the ball over, creating turnovers and not turning it over yourself. Philadelphia, I believe, is plus 15, number 1 in the league in turnovers. Plus 15. That's why they're doing so well. Washington is minus 4. So that's the key to beating Philadelphia. Slow down that running game, run the ball yourself, don't turn the ball over, create turnovers. And that's every game, really.
Yeah, that's every game. Here. It's interesting. You bring up the turnover ratio of plus 15. It's excellent turnover ratio.
It's insane.
Yeah. One of the things that they also have out here, 7 fumbles. Only one of them is lost. That's something that you might see regress to the mean, which means that's very lucky that all these balls are bouncing their way. So that might be something that can be looked there. It's going to be interesting. I will talk. Cam Curl did play this Philly game. Now it was his first game back, right? So he missed the first 2 games. So that was his first game back. Allison, we appreciate you jumping in here, even if you are the enemy. Allison is a Philadelphia fan. She does a lot of those dig downs here, and I want to get to ask you a question, and maybe you have this handy, Allison. But Allison says Hurts threw absolute dimes against Pittsburgh. He's getting better each week. Well, you can say that of Washington's defense as well, especially since that game. Have had much better luck against wide receivers. Justin Jefferson got his, but Washington actually did a good job of keeping him very limited in that regards. Dominic here says it's fine to make the points about his throws that game. You're absolutely right, Stoner. Look at that. Check that one on. Mark it down the calendar. Dominic says Stoner's absolutely right. But as of recently, he has made great deep throws. I don't watch every Philadelphia game, so that's why I need Allison and the others to maybe chime in with that. I would love to see that stat if you can provide it, because I love me some stats.
Yeah,
but this is a game I think that Washington does have a legitimate chance. The fact that they're 10-point underdogs going into this game is, I feel, very disrespectful. To the team. I get Washington isn't great, but this is a Philadelphia team that was pushed by the Texans just last week. They dominated the Steelers. They had a good game against the Cowboys. They were pushed, by the Cardinals and the Jaguars as well. So this is a team that I feel like, maybe they didn't lose against Houston, but they're eventually going to fall on their face. And why not? Why not the Commanders, who have a stout run defense? They got to Jalen Hurts 3 times in that first game, and their pass rush has been only getting better and more consistent. So this is one of those things we're probably not going to see, and Stoner's going to bring up the injury report. We're not going to see Chase Young back, but they didn't have Chase Young for the first one. This is a game that I think Washington can do. They do need to have some success, like you were saying, Stoner, in the running game. Antonio Gibson was really the lone running back for that. Jonathan Williams ran 1 time for 6 yards. J.D. McKissick ran 3 for 8. Antonio Gibson 12 times for 38 yards. And Carson Wentz 3 for 22. Curtis Samuel got used 3 for 13. So not a great day, 22 for 87 for 4 yards a carry. Better than what Philadelphia had, but they got behind pretty early, right? There was
24 nothing, right?
Yeah, it's 24-0 in the second quarter. All 24 points scored within that second quarter. And so you kind of had to abandon the run a little bit. If Washington doesn't fall behind early, this game on Monday Night Football, they might legitimately have a chance to stay with it and give Taylor Heineke an opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, we tweeted this out, Stoners, as we're on Taylor Heineke here. And I'm going to bring this one to light here. I'm not going to show it on the screen. We tweeted it out. We put it in the community page. I haven't checked the community page responses to it. Taylor Heineke has played 4 primetime games. He's completed 64% of his passes for about 246 yards a game, 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He has 15 carries, 54 yards, and a touchdown, and a 2 for 2 record.
2 for 2 or 2 and 2?
2 and 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 4 games, 2 and 2. And this is a little skewed, I would say, because one of those games was last year's game against Dallas, where we lost 56-14. That was the game that he was just coming back from COVID. You got to remember he missed the Philadelphia game, and then he came back and he was 7 for 22 that game. Just an awful game. One TD, 2 touchdowns. You can't really take it away because that was a game he played, but the context behind it was that was a game that he was just coming back from the injury and illness list, and it was a stinker. Outside of that, this is why people love him. You got the Giants game on Thursday Night Football of last season, where it was just an absolute, high scoring game, 30-29. You got the game that made everybody fall in love with them, Tampa Bay in the postseason the year before, where Heineke, you got everybody loving that. And then the other primetime game was against Seattle, where they won 17-15. And he threw for 77% there, with 223 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
Yep, I remember that game.
Primetime Taylor Heineke, I think, might be enough.
Yeah.
If the running game can get off to be able to challenge this undefeated team. Again, maybe burgundy glasses here.
Well, here's the difference between the first game this year, the 24-8 debacle, as you like to call it, and where both teams are now. Sure, Philadelphia's gone undefeated. Philadelphia hasn't really played anybody, I would say, other than Minnesota. Minnesota's 7-1, and their only loss is to Philadelphia. I get it. You play who's on your schedule. That's what your record is. That's great. I'm not saying they shouldn't be 8-0 or that they're not a good team. I'm just saying they haven't really been tested by a good team yet. I'm not saying Washington's a good team. All I'm doing is putting it into context, okay? But the difference between that game and this game for Washington is pretty significant, and here's what it is. One is you have a different quarterback in there. You have a more mobile quarterback. Whether or not he's better than Carson Wentz, that's debatable, and we'll probably talk about that here in a little bit as well. Okay? 2, you have Brian Robinson, who was he wasn't playing that game. Is that correct? He wasn't quite ready yet because he started on IR, right?
Yeah, Brian Robinson was not on that game.
Right. So you have Brian Robinson has been added to the running back core. Okay? Number 3, William Jackson is gone. Okay? I don't know how. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on there. But addition by subtraction, since William Jackson has been gone, the defensive backs have played a ton better. Okay? He's not there anymore. The next one is they've moved St. Juste, okay, and put him in a position to where he can play a better cornerback. All right? So you've moved him outside. That's another difference, right? And then lastly is the play of your linebackers / defensive line have increased with the addition of Cam Curl coming back. Now, Curl did play that game. That was his first game back. Now he's back to almost to his Pro Bowl level that he has played in the
I
last
believe
couple
he's
of
still
years.
the number 1 rated safety.
That's right. That's right. So you add all of those things up, and you said Chase Young's not playing. He might play. He has not been ruled out yet. So you could add that to the factors as well. This is a completely different defense than it was in week 3, stat-wise, health-wise, and players in certain positions-wise. Completely different. And then on offense, obviously, you have the difference in quarterback, and you have the addition of Brian Robinson. Now, I don't even know if Dotson played that. Did Dotson play that game?
Dotson
He probably
played that
did.
one, yes.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to play this one either. So this is a totally different Washington team. Record-wise, they're about 500, but it is a different team.
One of the parts on defense, Jamin Davis was still being lit up by his coaches on week 3. This is right about the time that those comments were being made public, and that he was kind of having his own social media thing. Jamin Davis has come alive since that game, really, and he's come into his own and shown that he is a very capable NFL linebacker. You mentioned the addition by subtraction. St. Juice has been doing wonderful. This is you're going to have Smith. You're not going to have Devontae Smith, and I'll put $1 on it right now. He's not going to have 169 yards.
Oh no, definitely not.
It's not. And the tackling has gotten better. The team hasn't been giving up Washington hasn't been giving up as many big plays as of lately when they were doing what they were doing back then. This is the longest, the 3 top wide receivers for Philadelphia that game. You mentioned Jalen Hurts average was like 6 yards from the line of scrimmage, right? It was the throws.
6 yard, not plays, 6 yards of play. It was 6 air yards per pass.
6 air yards per pass.
Yeah.
The Devontae Smith had 45 yards for his longest reception. AJ Brown, 38 yards for his longest reception.
Yep.
Grant Calcaterra, 40-yard reception, his lone reception all game long.
Yep.
The team was just not tackling well. If Washington can contain and keep everything in front of them, which they have shown they can do, Washington is well within this game. And yes, Derek Forrest will be playing. Defoe is going to be out there. He is a strong safety. He often gets to play in the box, but with the linebacker situation, Allison, we're probably going to see Cam Curl lining up more as like an additional linebacker next to Jamin Davis, depending on the health of our players, which let's get to that right now. Stoner, you got the injury report up?
Well, here's the thing. There was no injury report because they did not have a practice today. They had a walkthrough because of the Monday night game. They've moved everything a day later. So no practice today. So therefore no injury report. But the ones that we're looking at that we're going to be very, very interested in are, of course, Chase Young, whether or not he's going to play. He's in week 2 now of his 3-week period of whether they're going to sign him to the active roster or sit him for the rest of the year. They're going to sign him whether it's this week or next week. They're going to bring him up to the active roster. So you got Chase Young. You've got Jahan Dotson. That's another huge one. He hasn't played for 5 straight weeks, I believe now, because of his hamstring. He's a difference maker on offense. And then the third really big one for me is Cole Holcomb. You're starting middle linebacker. You're starting Green Dot, who hasn't played the last 2 weeks. So you've got those 3, and then some peripheral guys or guys who are on the periphery, whatever the right word is. Give it to me. What are you going to give me?
I
got nothing.
No,
periphery.
Okay. If that's
periphery,
that's what you're looking for.
Guys like Cole Turner with his concussion, David Mayo, the backup linebacker, and who else was I thinking of? Oh, J.D. McKissick. So are those guys going to be ready for this Monday night game? I don't know. I certainly hope. I'd like to see. It would bring a good vibe if Chase Young is out there on Monday Night Football, right?
Especially if he just
showcase
one play. If he makes one play, I think the defense just absolutely gets and rallies behind that. Want to appreciate Sarah here jumping in. Vikings fan here. You guys have an awesome defense. Go kick some up in Philadelphia and pick up that win. Good luck.
Yeah.
Appreciate you jumping in there, Sarah. Thank you for that. This Trout brings up the other side of this. We're talking up this defense, and this defense has played. And yes, Dominic, we've talked about the Eagles' schedule. Washington's played many of the same teams, and we're talking up this defense as if it's something good. This defense just held Minnesota to less points than what Philadelphia held them to, right? Or I guess actually that is incorrect. Let me double check.
They scored
the 24-7.
Yeah, they scored 7.
They played a little better. So, but this defense did hold Minnesota to 20 points, which is very winnable. And they held Philadelphia to 24 points. Philadelphia only scored in the one quarter. Now, granted, it was 24 points in one quarter, and they weren't able to come
That's
back.
all they needed.
But what Trout's saying is, I just hope that the offense can allow the defense to catch their breath and at least get us to field goals. This has been the problem with this offense. They only had the 1 3-and-out against Minnesota, but it was at a brutal time.
Yeah,
they just
the drive of the year.
They gave up the touchdown. They needed to take time off the clock. They went backwards on a 3-and-out. They lost 5 yards and took practically no time off the clock. And Minnesota was able to drive down, get the field goal, and win the game. But Washington has had an issue with those 3-and-outs, has not sustained drives. Washington really needs to lean on their running backs this game and the running game, keeping Philadelphia off. Keep everything in front of them. Let that defense rest so that they can get after Jalen Hurts. What's your confidence factor in Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson running against this Eagles defense, which, mind you, the Vikings defense was supposed to be susceptible to the pass. They weren't able to pass the ball against them, but Washington had some success on the ground last week, and they had some minor success in week 3 against Philadelphia. Where do you think, what's your confidence level with those two running backs against this defense?
Well, that's where Philadelphia's defense can be exploited, is in the run game. They have a very average run defense. They have a fantastic pass defense. So let's not try and overthink it again, and let's just run the ball. You've said it from day one of this season that Antonio Gibson is your biggest playmaker. He's the guy that you need out there making the plays in the passing, short passing, and the running game. Get him more involved. As somebody said, I saw yesterday, what the heck is Brian Robinson bringing to this team right now? He's not. Whether it's physical or mental, he's not helping this team right now. Stop putting him in there for the first couple of drives when you punt. You're not going 3-and-out, but you might be going 5-and-out or 6-and-out, and you're not sustaining long enough drives and you're not getting points. So let's stop with this B-Rob being the starter experiment, and let's get Gibby out there. And let's put some points on the board. And then maybe you can bring B-Rob in later as their defense is getting tired, and maybe he can start pounding some guys. So that's what I hope that they'll do, is RTDB, run the damn ball as much as possible. I'd like to see him get 35 rushes. And that's how you're going to beat Philadelphia. And, of course, limit your turnovers. We don't want Taylor back there throwing the ball, because we know what he does when he goes back there and throws the ball. He turns it over.
This is prime time Taylor.
Yeah.
I gave you those stats. Prime time Taylor.
I mean, they're okay stats. They're better than his.
They're not elite, yeah.
Yeah, they're better than his normal stats, but they're not like, you look at them, go, well, oh, they're winning this game. They're not that kind of stats. Let's not get carried away, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I am a little worried about this rushing attack because they have seemed to be inconsistent, and a lot of the big rushes are coming from players not named Brian Robinson or Antonio Gibson. How much of Curtis Samuel running the ball should we expect this game against Philadelphia?
I don't know how much we should expect. I expect in the 5, 6, 7 carries. Why not? Again, we've talked about this week after week after week. What we saw in the Jacksonville game, in game 1, when I believe Curtis Samuel had 7 carries in that game and he was everywhere. Where did that go? That was so successful. Where did that offense go of Curtis Samuel getting the ball out of the backfield? He had 1 carry against the Vikings, 1 for 16 yards. And you didn't think
you didn't go back to it.
Yeah. You don't think maybe we should go back to that and get him some more touches in the backfield? So I would like to see more of Curtis Samuel, more of Antonio Gibson. I like to see him in the
early
15 to 18
early
carries. Early.
I don't want to see him in the second half only. I want to see him all game long. Get him out there. As Kevin says here, whoever you use, we need more 2-back sets. You need to put Curtis Samuel back there with Gibson or Brian Robinson, or put Brian Robinson and Gibson out there. What I love about that set, by the way, is you can still motion Gibson out to be a slot receiver, and they still have to plan for, oh, wow, they got 2 running backs, and then do a late motion. And now they're, maybe they brought someone close to the line and you're going to catch them off guard. Gibson is one heck of a tool for this offense. Curtis Samuel's one heck of a tool. And if they're used properly, that opens up Terry McLaurin, or, maybe a Jahan Dotson if he's healthy. Cam Sims seems to get a lot more love than De'Ami Brown right now with Taylor Heineke in the lineup.
Just imagine if the coach for Philadelphia, Sirianni, right, if he installed that offense with Washington, okay? Philadelphia has some good weapons. They don't have as deep a weapons as Washington does, okay? They've got A.J. Brown, they've got Goddard, they've got Devontae Smith, and they have Boston Scott, and I forgot their other running back's name. Those are good. They're not Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, McKissick and Gibby and all those guys. They're not to that level. So design plays, as Philadelphia is doing, designing plays to get those guys in space. We saw it in that first Washington game. They designed plays to get those guys in space. And even their backup tight end, I can't even remember the guy's name, the Alcantara. Well, I don't know what his name is. Alcantara. I forget his name. Yeah. But whatever. I mean, he had a 40-something yard catch because they got him out in space. Alcantara?
OU guy.
Alcatone. I don't know what his name is. Right? So, but they do such a good job. That's what we need. We need to design an offense to get these guys in space. And I think they actually do design the offense pretty well. They just don't execute it. Because you see guys open.
Well, we talked about it. The play calling is also suspect, right? And there's some execution there. Johnny in here, one key is going to be limiting Devontae Smith. Remember what he did to us last game? Let Jamin Spy Hurts, and I think we'll be good. Yeah, I think Jamin Davis is going to be all over that backfield. My guess on that one. Cam Curl, Defoe, let them handle that slot. Wild Goose or Danny Johnson is the one who they went to this last game. Maybe we'll see a little bit of him. A lot of people seem to like that. It's going to be interesting. Dominic, I'm going to disagree with you here. I do think the wide receiver core is a little bit closer than what Stoner was just talking about, but Dominic says A.J. Brown is easily the best weapon for either team. Going to disagree with that, but that's not
the best weapon
argument we're going to have. Who, for you asking me or you asking Dominic?
I'm asking you.
To me, I'd still take Terry McLaurin over. And not to disparage AJ Brown. I think that he's good. And yes, I'm wearing the burgundy. Yes, I even got the Washington hoodie on and everything like that. But Terry McLaurin to me is still a better all around wide receiver. Need to get that man a quarterback. There was this one here from Michael. A dollar 40 rush attempts or bust. I will say this. I'll put $1 on this. If Washington has 40 rush attempts, they're winning the game.
No, I would agree with that 100%. Yeah. Well, I think either team, if they have 40, any team pretty much in the NFL, if you can rush the ball 40 times, you're probably winning.
All right, stats guy in our ear right now. Let us know, when's the last time a team had 40 rush attempts and lost? I'm very interested in finding that one out.
1947. That's what I'm being told in my ear right now.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they handle this. And then we had a very interesting comment here, which is going to lead us into, I think, our next big debate. We had a little bit of this on Monday here. Kevin,
let's talk about it.
Spoiler alert: this Monday may be Taylor Heineke's last start ever. Stoner, you disagree with this?
Oh, of course. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say that it may be his last start ever. But when you said something very similar, you said something to the effect of Carson Wentz will play the next game if he's
no. I said you go back to Carson Wentz regardless of how Taylor Heineke plays this.
That's game. Where you went wrong, Nathan, my friend. That's where you used a word you should not have used. Okay. And I'm giving you a chance here on national television right now. Okay. I'm giving you a chance to rescind the word regardless. Right now. Are you gonna take back the word regardless? I think there it goes. Now I hear it. All right. So you're not taking the word regardless. So you're telling me that if Taylor Heineke goes out on Monday Night Football, okay, and he throws for 350 and 3 touchdowns and 70% passing, and they win 31-17, you're telling me they're going to Carson Wentz next week? No chance, my friend.
They're going to go back to Carson Wentz.
No chance, my friend.
Absolutely, 100%.
I mean, why? Why would they do that? Why would they go back after he just dominated an undefeated team on Monday Night Football?
Because that's short-sighted. He just laid an egg against a not undefeated team. He threw for less than 150 yards. He had a game-breaking interception. Like this, you're forgetting about this. Even with 350 yards, Stoner, Taylor Heineke will have then averaged over the 4-game span 200 yards a game.
You're right.
You are being very short-sighted is the problem. You're going, well, he had a great game. Why would you bench him? Because over the course of the 4 games that he's had, that's the only great game he had.
So they would have gone 3-1 in those 4 games, which is double, triple the amount of wins.
As Sean points out here, Wentz was 2-4. That put Taylor Heineke at 3-1.
Right.
We all know wins are not a quarterback stat.
Okay, but he still has led your team to a win.
He did. I'm not trying to put Taylor Heineke. I'm the one who put out primetime Heineke stats today. Okay.
Right.
I'm not in the business of dogging Taylor Heineke. We all know where I stand with him. I think that he's a quality backup, and I think that he's going to be in this league for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He's played great for Washington. Carson Wentz is the better quarterback, in my opinion.
I agree.
And Ron Rivera believes that too.
I believe
Ron
he
Rivera went out and got him after having Taylor Heineke on the roster.
Right.
So that's why they're going to go back to Carson Wentz. Now, Carson Wentz will have a short leash.
Will he have a short leash?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, why? We can't have a short leash.
He's going to have a short leash for 2 reasons. One, they're going to be ever watching that 70% threshold, right? Because they don't want to set it up and lose that. So that's going to be one reason.
Okay.
Because if we start losing and we're out of the playoffs, you're going to see Wentz on the bench. He'll have re-aggravated some kind of injury.
Right.
Or if Washington's not being successful, but still in the race, you can see him getting pulled for Taylor Heineke to maybe give this team that extra muscle because Taylor Heineke was 3-1. But you're going to go back to Wentz right away.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying I'm short-sighted, which, yeah, and Ron Rivera is short-sighted, or he's going to be short-sighted. He's going to be coming off the high. There's no way he can go into that locker room on Wednesday after that win and he throws for 350 and 3 touchdowns and they win on Monday Night Football. There's no way he goes into that locker room and says, I'm sitting the kid down and I'm bringing in Carson Wentz. That's how you lose locker rooms. Now, if they go the next week against Houston, which is, I believe, who they play the next week, if he goes out there, then he throws out a dud, then you bring Carson Wentz back. But you can't dump him on a high. You just can't do it. I'm not saying he's going to do it. Okay? I don't think he's going to do that. But if he does, then they're going to stick with him. That's where the regardless word is getting you in trouble. And you're going to live to regret that word.
As Gus Bus points out here, no chance that Taylor has that type of game.
Probably
Nathan can be supremely confident. Yeah. Again, the Philadelphia defense is good against the pass.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably not going to see a 350-yard passing game by Taylor Heineke. But you could potentially see a win like we lined it out here for them. And we'll see how it is. I'm also going to point out, this is more or less on the Taylor Heineke. This is on Washington. The Jets beat the Buffalo Bills. Okay. This is an any given Sunday league. Washington absolutely can beat Philadelphia. It is not a lost cause. We'll see how it goes. Carson Wentz, Obey says Carson Wentz is the most hated QB. He definitely doesn't seem to get a lot of love. Paul here, did you forget that the great Tom Brady lost to Eli Manning in the Super Bowl? You guys act like Kirk Cousins is such a great quarterback. He is not. Washington Commanders gave Minnesota that game. Absolutely. We'll see how it goes. I saw something earlier from you, Allison, on there. Is Taylor Heineke, Cooper Rush? Quite possibly.
I think that's a very good comparison.
Very close. Gardner Minshew, only Taylor Heineke wins more games than Gardner Minshew. These are all top level backups.
Mm-hmm.
They're great, and they're great stories, and they're great to have on the team. And the team does rally around him. I cannot take that away from Taylor Heineke.
That's part of it.
There's something about him that everybody rallies behind, to include the fan base.
Yeah,
and it's great. You want to see that.
That's part of it.
I want to see somebody who can get the ball to Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel further than 20 yards consistently. And Taylor Heineke has problems doing that.
Yes.
So we'll see how it goes. Now, one of the things that is definitely brought up, Johnny, here. Carson got sacked 23 times through 6 games. No thanks. Dude's a statue back there. He definitely needs to get rid of the ball quicker. That's Carson Wentz. That is
how many times
Taylor Heineke that I will bring it up.
How many times has Taylor been sacked in the 3 games? I bet you it's about the same average, because 23 times in 6 games is just about 4 times a game. I bet you it's really close to that.
6
in the 3
times,
games.
6 times over 3 games.
Okay, I was wrong.
So two a game. 2 a game. That means, what did we say? He was sacked 23
in 6 games, so about 4 a game. Let
me double check that to make sure that's accurate there. Not that I doubt our comment section, but I just like to see.
I'll say I doubt it sometimes. I'm not saying this particular one, but there's been some crazy stuff in there.
Yeah, 23 times over the 6 games that.
Right. Who nailed that? So, I apologize.
Yeah.
You're spot on with that.
But
he's definitely a statue back there, and Taylor can definitely move around. But the ability to make bigger plays, it comes from Carson Wentz. So, yes, I believe, you believe, most people who understand, that's not the right word. Most people who watch a lot of football know that Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Taylor Heineke. That doesn't mean he should be playing instead of Taylor Heineke in certain situations, or that maybe even Taylor Heineke is better for this team because of the offensive line and his ability to use his legs to get out of the way, in which Carson Wentz can't do, it seems like at this point. But if they're winning and he's playing well, he's going to stay in there. You can't bench the guy who's playing well for Carson Wentz. You can bench him for Dak Prescott. You can bench him for, other elite quarterbacks, But for Carson Wentz, I don't think you do that as long as you're continuing to win. If he goes out there and has a Taylor Heineke game, right? A typical Taylor Heineke game, and they don't win, you're going back to Carson Wentz if he's healthy and ready. That's 100%. He's not going to be healthy and ready, and they lose that game and he doesn't play well, and they're not going to say, we're sticking with Taylor. No. That's when you go back to Carson. For sure.
Right. The conversation I don't want to have, but I'm going to ask the question.
Okay.
Is there a time, let's say Philadelphia's up 24-0.
Okay.
In the first half again.
Okay.
Maybe continues that into the fourth quarter. Is there a chance we see how
24-0 in the fourth quarter?
In the fourth quarter, which it was, by the way,
Was it in the fourth quarter? Or didn't we score in the third quarter?
Washington didn't score until the fourth quarter this last.
Okay. I think there's a small chance of it. I think it depends on how Taylor's playing. Like if he's playing decent, but Antonio Gibson is fumbling, or you know what I mean, a lot of just plays that are out of Taylor's hands, then I think there's a possibility that you would see him in the fourth quarter. I personally wouldn't do it because just switching up quarterbacks like that is just not good for a team.
Yeah, it depends. Really, I think that you might see him depending on if Washington is down bad like they were against Dallas last year, right? The
55-14
game. Yeah. Then you might see Sam Howell just because it's just you don't want to continue putting Taylor Heineke out there if you want to go back to him. Not saying it's idea. There's a lot of people who are saying no. Yeah, I mean, but this is a 5th round rookie. You're going to just have to throw him out there eventually. This isn't going to be there. Metaphor is going to put in Armani Rodgers. I would love to see more Armani Rodgers. I want to see that set again with him having 2 running backs on the side. Let him pass, something. He's not an NFL quarterback, but he was a quarterback. We'll see how it goes. And it'll be interesting seeing how this game goes. And I'm interested to find out what our people here in the chat think.
There was the one up there that said ruining Howell, putting him out there would ruin Howell. Let me tell you what has already ruined Howell. Sam Howell has already ruined Sam Howell. Sam Howell is a 5th round quarterback. Okay. Name me more than 2 5th round or later quarterbacks who have ever been decent in the last 25 years. Name me more than 2, because there's 2 that everyone goes to. It's very easy, and that's Tom Brady and Kurt Warner. Tom Brady was a 6th rounder. Kurt Warner was undrafted. Okay? Name me one other one that has been drafted in the 5th round or later. And don't give me the excuses that in the senior year in college, all his weapons left, and he was supposed to be a 1st rounder if he had left after his junior year. Okay. You just don't all of a sudden, people don't see your skills after you leave, after your weapons leave. Okay. So he is what he is. I'm sorry to ruin it for the people who love him. And they fit into 2 camps. The Howlers, they fit into 2 camps. The first camp is those who watched him in college and who really like him and kind of followed his career a little bit. And they think that they know him as a quarterback, and they're surprised that he was drafted as low as he was. And they've been talking about him and they've been tweeting about him for 5 years or whatever. And so they're the ones that think that Howell's the real deal. Okay. But they're Twitter warriors. Okay. They think because they put it on Twitter that makes them super smart. Okay. You're not a scout. Okay. And neither am I, but I'm just saying the scouts and the front office people passed over him 4 and 5 times each before somebody decided to say, let's just throw it out there and see if it sticks, and selected him. So that's one camp. Okay. The other camp is just crazy people. Okay. They like the unknown. Okay. The most popular person in every NFL city is the backup quarterback, right? And especially here in Washington. Everybody loves the backup quarterback because they don't know whether he can do it or not. So they always want to see the backup quarterback. Okay. Howell's not it. I'm sorry. He's not it. He's not going to be it. He has a rocket arm. He can run, but I can name you 100 quarterbacks who had rocket arms and could run and couldn't make it in the NFL because it's not just about your arm and your legs. It's about so much more. Howell ain't it, people. If he was, he'd have been drafted higher. Get off the Howl. What is it? The Howl Hive?
Howlers. It's just the Howlers. I'm not ready to write off Sam Howell without actually having taken a snap or played a game. So I'm not in the same boat. So if you're going to at somebody in the comment section,
come on,
that man right there is the one you're going to out.
And Tony Romo's a good one.
Tony Romo was able to shut you down on that one.
Okay, that's 3.
So there's 3. But
you want me to name you 100 that didn't?
You don't have to because we're going to move on. I wanted to move on to the cool down, but then I saw some absolute just craziness here from Paul. Heineke is playing with less talent than all of these quarterbacks so many of you are in love with. Heineke has never had his full arsenal of weapons to play with. This team is I'm not going to say loaded, but they have a bevy of offensive talent right now. And Taylor Heineke threw for 149 yards against one of the worst pass defenses. So
bevy's a good word.
Yeah, there's plenty of there. And then this one here, Paul, I appreciate you jumping in. And I'm not trying to knock Heineke or you for that matter, but this take is a little out there. Heineke has not had his defensive weapons to play behind. The defense is what's kept Washington in every single one of these games this year. Like Taylor Heineke has what he can to win games. We'll see how it works out for him against Philadelphia. And I do want to hear what you have to say about that. Get those score predictions in the chat right now. And when we get back for the cool down, we'll give you our predictions and do some dollar.
The Cool Down is brought to you by Manscaped. Ever since my Nathan started using their products, I can't cool down. Fellas, trust me. Go to Manscaped right now and get 20% off and free shipping by using the code REF. Your ladies will appreciate you. Now back to Trev, Stoner, and my Manscaped man, Nathan.
All right, welcome back to the cool down. Let's get these scores in the chat here. Let us know who is going to win as Washington heads to Philadelphia and plays on Monday Night Football. It's going to be an interesting weekend, Stoner. There's no soccer for me to coach. There's no Washington Commanders game on Sunday. So I'm not sure, like, my weekend's just going to be kind of open, but we'll be back streaming live on that Monday Night Football game. We'll be giving you play-by-play and commentary right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, our Twitch channel that gets used for these live streams. That will be happening about 30 minutes before the game time. Stoner and I will be doing some fun times. And by the way, if Washington wins this one, I've got a new onesie to get into.
Oh, that's right. You got to change it up, and you got a brand new one.
Yeah. It's going to be nice. It's going to be good.
Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of hoping just for that reason, Washington loses. I'm not a fan of the onesie. I'm just going to say, I'm a fan of what it represents. I'm not a fan of the whole thing.
Okay, well, now that I know that one of my best friends decides that he wants to be negative about the onesie, let's get to some of these scores here as I asked for them right before our little commercial there. Bosky has taken the Eagles 27-13. Stoner's pouting. Stoner has the capability to put himself back in. He just wanted to pout on the back screen there. Bosky 27-13 Eagles. Gus Bus, the only way Wentz makes it to the roster next year is if Taylor Heineke loses against Philly and then Wentz leads a 4-6 Commanders team to a winning record. Yeah, that's next year. We'll definitely talk about that. I don't think he's on this roster next year. Doug pulling out a close one here for Washington, 25-24. Allison taking her home team there, 2013 Philly. 27-24 Washington by Michael. Philly is due to lose a game they should win. Absolutely. I thought that was going to be that Houston game, the way Pierce was running. Trout, 24-21 Washington. Again, I'm hoping for the upset to happen. Dominic, who has been trashing Washington all chat long, no surprise here, 28-10 Philly. Metaphor in here, 17-13 Commanders, despite Taylor Heineke's interception, defensive score. Tress muffed Panthers us a running touchdown, or we're going to say punt gathers us a running touchdown there. Dan Odell, thank you for joining us here. 48-21 Eagles, maybe a little less. Thank you for joining us on that score. Commando, not high hopes here, Commando. 1 million. Is that 1 million? Maybe that's 1
they got some
billion.
commas in some wrong places.
Yeah, there. There's messed up comments. There's 100 million Eagles to 3 Commanders. Gus Bus 30-20 Commanders with a defensive touchdown. Love that. There we go. Metaphor corrects it. Tress muffed punt gets us a rushing touchdown. Autocorrect got him for sure. Absolutely. Gus Bus, if Manscaped wants to send me a onesie,
ooh, nice.
I will absolutely rock that. They do sponsor our channel. We are appreciate that. All right, let's get to your score before I get to some of these others that are in the chat here. How confident? We talked about the game plan. We think Washington absolutely can beat them, but they currently are 10-point underdogs, so Vegas does not believe that's going to happen. Where do you stand, Stoner?
I stand on, I need more people to hit the like button. That's where I stand. First of all, this is it. Ready? Again, that's all it takes. Do that for us.
Stoner needs to get me that little jingle he was talking about, and I can put that on.
Hit that like button and subscribe. All right. So I believe Washington keeps this close. Okay. And I think they do slow down the offense of Philadelphia, but I just don't think they have enough offense on their own side to keep up with Philadelphia. So I think it'll be a little bit lower scoring, kind of in the same way the Minnesota-Washington game. And I think a late turnover, not a Taylor Heineke interception. Now, it could be a fumble, but it'll be a late turnover in the fourth quarter when Washington's trying to come back from a 2-score deficit. They can't get it on that one, but they do eventually get a late score to get it close and respectable. I'm going to go Philadelphia 25, Washington 17. Yeah, that's my prediction.
Steady Eddie's going with the Commanders 17-14. EP has learned how to put scores in 23-21 Philly.
That's
Fear the Beard 27-21 Philly, calling it a close game. I do think it is going to be a close one. It's going to be there. Let's not do this metaphor. I don't necessarily want to see this. We do have a poll out there right now, which I'm going to go ahead and bring up.
Oh yeah.
To see. It's in our community chat right now. We currently have 915 votes, and it's a close one in there. It's a close one. Right now, the Commanders are hedging out the Eagles 54% to 46%. I'm sure some of our Eagles fans that love to come here will be flipping that as they share that around for people to get there. Foom says, let's be real here. Eagles are crushing it this year and have a legit shot to be Super Bowl champs. I love Washington so much, but we're going to be lucky if we even keep this game close. Make sure you head out to our community spot there, chat with us on that as well. Put in your predictions. And Vlad the Impaler, love this score, 42-0 for the Commanders. All and right. Says, I never lose bets. I totally have my rent money.
I like this one.
So, Fear the Beard. Stoner has come so far from saying Wentz would trash Hurts in week 3 to saying Eagles would beat Washington. Fear the Beard, not only that, but he's saying that Wentz might not even be back to quarterback this team. if Taylor Heineke has himself a game. That's how far he's fallen on that one. Kevin's taking the Eagles 24-17, saying Heineke throws 2 picks and Stoner breaks something. Probably his fan again.
Very possible.
Chris, we don't want an upset Sunday. We want an upset Monday. That's right. This is a Monday Night Football game.
Yeah,
and because of that, we are going to get prime time Taylor Heineke.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be the Heineke Hive is gonna be out there, and that's gonna be great. And I am going to take a Commanders in the close one.
Wow.
We're gonna go with 22-21 Commanders.
Wow. Okay.
See how that goes. We'll see how it goes. 21-23, P4 says, going to the EP school of scoring things. So, Chris is right, though. Dominic says you will be upset on Monday. We'll see how it goes. No worries on that one, Chris. I would like to have some fun with our chat here. Jason pulled a Christian Harris signed card. Nice. Excellent. You have to let us know where you pulled that one. The dollar. Let's do some dollars real quick. I don't want to get too many because you kind of crushed me last week. Not really. +3 to my 0. But without Trev here, I feel like we need to involve Trev a little bit. Make sure we get there with Trev. Hawk TV 28-21 Philly. So let's get some of those dollar bets in there and what you got, and then we'll make sure Trev gets some of his in and answers the phone for the ones that we put down. I've got one.
Okay, go.
Taylor Heineke does not throw 2 picks.
Well, yeah, I think you're probably right on that.
We had somebody in the chat say that
right.
So
But
just
yeah,
that one.
No, I agree. I don't think he's going to throw 2 picks. How about this? Washington has 35 rushes.
I'm going to take the under.
Okay. Stoner. Washington at least 35 rushes. Nathan. It's got the under. Okay. I also have, along with those 35 rushes, I got them at 140 yards rushing.
I like that one, though.
I got them for 148 yards rushing.
Make it 155 and you got yourself a deal.
155 it is. I was willing to go to 175, so I'm happy with 155.
Really, really bullish on the rushing attack, which is 35 yards for 155, and you don't think they're winning the game?
No, I don't. I don't think they're winning the game.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
The dollar is where I put my money. The score prediction, there's no money, so I just kind of throw it out there.
Fair enough.
All right,
155. Washington holds Philadelphia without a 100-yard wide receiver.
Oh, I think they'll have a 100-yard wide receiver. I'll take that.
You're going to take that? Okay.
All right, Nathan. It's Philly, no 100-yard receiver. I think they will have one of their folks will definitely get up there. I have Jalen Hurts rushing at 39 yards.
39 yards?
Yes.
I'm not going to take that one. He only had 20 last time.
Yeah, it's double. It's basically double.
Yeah, but he could break out a big one, and then I'm totally,
I don't know what word you're trying to use there, but I can do the math. I can figure it out. All right. Let's go with Logan Thomas, who I don't even know if he's played this year yet. I mean, I don't know if he's gotten many stats this year. What does he have, like 2 or 3 catches? for the whole year, probably
like that. Yeah, it's not been many. I am actually going to bring it up because I'm very interested in knowing now.
Logan Thomas,
how many?
3 catches.
3 catches?
3 in this game.
He had 3 targets all of last game.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, I'm going to take that.
All right, cool. Stoner has Loto, as I like to call him.
Loto, by the way,
3
this year
catches.
has 13 receptions on 23 targets.
That's like way more than I thought. I didn't even realize. I can't even remember 1 catch he's had this year.
He's got a touchdown.
And he has a touchdown? Gosh,
and he has a touchdown. Yeah. The touchdown came against Detroit.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, wasn't it?
Was a long time ago.
Did we play Detroit this year already? Wow, I can't remember that.
Been a long time here. Let's see where we're at. If there's any dollars in here. Hawk TV. Washington scores a touchdown in the first half. I like that.
I mean, I think they will.
I think they will. I don't think it's going to be another 24-0 beat down. I do agree with the Hawk TV here. The national media will call the game a fluke should Washington win. I think there's probably going to be a couple that will say, maybe they're legit. But that became from Jason. If we win, are we considered playoff contenders? We're going to be in the mix, but I definitely think that we'll be considered playoff contenders just because there's a lot of people on the bottom of that playoff roster that Washington can beat and does have on the roster.
If they lose, they're still considered playoff.
They're still in the playoff hunt. Maybe not playoff contenders, but they're in the playoff hunt. Allison with a dollar. Eagles throw 10+ screen passes.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, well,
they're not throwing that many.
You can take the under on that one, Stoner?
Yeah. I mean, they'll throw a lot of short passes, but I don't know about screen passes. That's a lot of screen passes. And she would probably know better about how many they average per week, but 10 seems like a lot. I mean, 10
is a lot.
About average.
Paul, by the way, coming in on the score. Always love to see it. Paul, 20-17 Washington Commanders. Love it. Dollar. Davis knocks Hurts out of the game. Not going to touch it.
Yeah. Well, you won't touch any injury
ones. I won't touch injury ones.
By the way,
I will say this: Dollar. Washington gets at least 4 sacks. They had 3 last time.
Ooh, 4 sacks? No,
4.
They're not getting 4.
No? Okay. I figured I'd put that extra one for you because they had 3 last time. Would you have taken it if I said 3?
No. I think they get 3.
Then I'm glad that I put down 4.
It is interesting, though, when we're talking about injuries, and I'm not trying to jinx anything, but Washington really hasn't had a major injury, right? We haven't had, Jahan Dotson, that's not a major injury.
Man, jinxing it.
Right? The Jahan Dotson, because he's supposed to come back at some point. Carson Wentz is not a major injury. Like a key player getting knocked out for the year. We haven't had that this year so far. That's last year we had Thomas and Young and McKissick at the end of the year. And okay. I'm just saying. I don't believe in jinxes, so by me saying it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
And we got Chase Young still out.
But he wasn't. They haven't been injured.
You don't even want to bring up the ambulance game. Yeah, what are you doing, Stoner? I really should just pull him out when he starts on those tangents. But
remember last year when we did this and I talked about how Terry McLaurin has never had a major injury last year and you guys all freaked out and he didn't have one. So obviously I didn't jinx it. So the jinx, there's no jinx. There's no such thing.
Why risk it? Why risk it? Let's see here. If there's a bus that goes up to Philly, I would love to hear. I will shout it from the rooftops wherever we can to let people know that there's a bus going out there, much like they put a bus. Yeah, Gus bus in here as well. No one wants you to say that, Stoner. Don't jinx us. Don't do it. It's so much I can't even get to some of these dollars. Metaphor: Allen and Payne each sack Hurts and include a sack fumble in there.
Well, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot to happen.
I won't go with all 3 of those. That's a parlay in itself, by the way. That's an Allen sack, a Payne sack, and a sack fumble.
That's a lot. How about this? Washington wins the turnover battle. Now, if it's even, that doesn't count. I mean, it's a push. Let me just clarify that.
Okay.
So even if either team wins,
you're saying that they win it, so push or
that's correct.
Loss.
I'm clarifying.
But okay, so you're saying it's at least a push or they win the turnover battle.
Yeah.
No, I like that. I'm not sure about this one from Paul though, who's willing to bet anyone Heineke doesn't throw any picks this game.
I mean, I just think they're going to run the ball. Not even going
to give the opportunity to have him throw a pick.
I think he throws. Here's one for you. I think Heineke throws less than 25 passes. 25 is my number. 25 or less.
He threw 28 last game.
Last game against Philly or just last
game against Minnesota. Remember, it was Wentz who played Philly last time.
That's right.
I will take you on that one.
All right.
25 and under is you, and 26 and up is me. Yeah, that one's going to be a close one.
Do I get an injury caveat on that? So, like, if he gets hurt and Howell comes in, you can't, after the first quarter.
I should get the injury caveat. So, yes, I will take that.
No, I'm saying, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for that. Thank you for that. Excellent. Okay. Thank you. With an injury asterisk to that one. That way it saves me. If he plays the full game, more than 25.
Yeah.
More than 25. How about did you give me something on that? You don't think he's going to throw a pick in the 25 pass?
I don't think he's going to throw a pick.
I'm with you.
I think he's going to be very conservative.
I think he's going to be clean this time. Getting through all the shut up stoners. O-line gives up 3 sacks. They had 9 against Carson Wentz.
They're going to give up more than 3.
How many do you think they're going to give up?
More than 3.
Come on. Put a dollar on this one, my man.
So more than 3, 4.
No, I still won't give you 4.
Kevin brings up a good point. I did miss the Chase Roulier out for the year injury.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's one. I'm just saying there hasn't been. I mean, look at Green Bay.
There hasn't been
all of Green Bay's injuries. Yeah. Last year, it seemed to be a lot.
Roger Smith disagrees with you on 35 spineless gun runs. They don't value running the football. It ain't what Scott likes to do.
Roger is 1,000,000,000% correct. That is not what Scott Turner likes to do. I'm just trying to speak it into existence. I've been calling for it for 6 weeks now.
Run the ball.
That's right. Please.
All right. Allison wants 5 sacks on Heineke.
I said 4.
Yeah, I'm not going to take 5. And 4 is where I think they're probably going to get with that. How about a Heineke rush count?
I don't know. 4.
4?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to gauge those really.
How about yardage? 20 yards.
I will go under.
You'll go under?
I'll go under the 20 yards.
Right. Taylor Heineke, at least 20 rushing yards. Remember, sacks go against passing.
That's right.
And my man better not be running a QB draw on 3rd and 9 again.
So you have over 20, right?
Yeah, 20 or more. Do you think Taylor Heineke's going to throw for 2 tutties?
No.
2 tubs?
No.
No, you're going to keep it on the ground this entire game.
I'm like I said, I'm trying to speak it into existence. They're just going to run all game.
Yeah, I'm not going to take 2 touchdowns. I think Taylor Heineke gets 1 passing touchdown. We'll see. Mama Stoner coming in here on Stoner. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Make sure you get some dollar bets, more in the chat. We'll get them live when we stream this game on Monday. That's right. We'll be giving you live play-by-play and commentary. As always, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, check out our Ref the District Season of Giving. Make sure you get in there and donate to the Fisher House. We appreciate everyone who's jumped in here on the chat. It's always been fun. This has been Nathan. That's Stoner. This is Ref the District. And until next time.
Yes, sir.
Be a fan.